Hi, welcome to the lecture on people analytics. Today I'll be talking about why people analytics matters to HR, defining people analytics, talking about elements of people analytics, the analytical process, and finally talking about Tableau software and people analytics. So, a quote I found that seems very relevant to what we'll be embarking on in this class is you can teach an HR person analytics, but you can't teach an analytics person HR. HR is unique when it comes to data. There are certain nuances in its structure and hierarchies. It would be like telling a software guy to go figure out the hardware specs. And that's a quote from Rishi Agarwal from PricewaterhouseCoopers. And basically, what that means is we all, as HR professionals, have the capacity to learn how to do basic analytics. There are definitely more advanced statistical and mathematical elements of workforce analytics, but what we will focus on in this class is just the basics and really get a good understanding of how to use data to make better data-driven decisions. So why people analytics matter? Understanding people analytics helps businesses discover the why of what's going on in the organization. Why are their top performers leaving? Why are people not engaged with the organization? The objective of people analytics is to enable businesses to make data-driven decisions. Data-driven decisions allows for more accurate decision making instead of relying on best practices or even a gut feeling when it comes to introducing programs and benefits to the organization. And data-driven decisions provide HR with the strong evidence to drive certain programs. So if you're wondering whether or not your new bonus plan or new compensation plan is going to be successful or if it will even work, using analytics can help to answer those questions. Businesses are overloaded with information, and analytics helps to decipher the data into a visual or contextual format. People analytics also allows companies to predict how employees will work, including reducing turnover, creating more engaged employees, and identifying key performers. The other reason why people analytics matters is because it helps to answer the big questions. Using the various types of analytics, and HR can answer questions regarding the workforce, such as how can we better manage our remote workforce? How will the merger change our work culture? Would a different pay structure increase retention? Would a new leave policy improve productivity? So why do people analytics matter now? The improvement in HR systems has made the collection, retention, and ability to measure data more effective than ever. And analytics in general have been around in businesses for decades. Human resources or people analytics uh, is just the most current form of analytics to be introduced and utilized in organizations. We have a better understanding of how work data can be used to create a more effective workforce. HR professionals were not trained in statistical analysis, but new software like Tableau allows us to be analysts without being mathematical geniuses. And by using data, HR can justify its programs, systems, and its very existence. HR's responsibility when it comes to analytics, we need to be advocates for the use of analytics as part of our day-to-day processes. We need to fully embrace analytics and the tools related to doing analysis. And we need to be able to partner with departments and individuals in the company that may have better experience or expertise in the more advanced analytical functions. HR professionals are not selected for a background in technology, math, or science, and so depend on people outside of HR for augmenting support in these capacities. Mike West from One Model. Again, this quote is very relevant because as HR professionals, and the expectation isn't that we become advanced mathematical professionals or analytical professionals, but we understand how to use data, and we will in this class learn how to use data to help make better business decisions. So what is people analytics? Analytics is defined as the strategies for combining data elements into metrics in order to examine relationships or changes in metrics. People analytics specifically refers to using workforce-related data, including recruiting, retention, employee satisfaction, and productivity data. There's four different types of of analytics in general. Descriptive analytics describe what happened in the past but doesn't explain why. So your basic turnover metric, which shows that you maybe lost, maybe 4 people left in May, and maybe only 1 person was hired in that month. It tells you what happened, but doesn't explain why. Diagnostic analytics incorporate historical data to find out why something happened and can identify patterns. So if you were to add additional data to that turnover metric, for instance, was it a voluntary termination? Were those involuntary terminations? And was that hire a new position or was it a replacement? Provides you with some additional data so it tells you a little bit more about why those numbers or those metrics have changed. Predictive analytics describes what most likely will happen by using descriptive and diagnostic analytics. By combining those two, you can create predictive analytics by identifying patterns in your data and your workforce. Prescriptive analytics literally details what action to take to eliminate a future problem. The 4 types of analytics they vary in complexity and how much value they add to the organizations. So the more complex analytics, which are predictive and prescriptive analytics, although they're more complex, they add more value to the organization. Descriptive and diagnostic analytics, where the majority of what we do from a workforce analytics standpoint in a lot of companies today, adds a smaller amount or a lesser amount of value to the company. So being able to provide and do prescriptive analytics is the ideal place where any organization wants its workforce or any of its analytic programs to be, but it's also the more complex. So we'll be focusing in the descriptive to predictive analytics space for this class. Elements of people analytics, data visualizations. Data visualizations is basically just charts and can be represented by bar and line graphs, heat charts, maps, scatter graphs, etc. Data visualizations are a powerful way to tell a story with data. And that's what a key element of being able to do workforce analytics. It's not only gathering the data, but it's putting the data in a format that is easily understood. It provides easy to understand insights into data, including disparities, anomalies, and other issues. And graphics are a universal language understood by most. You can go into a meeting in any country, any city, any state in the world and use graphs to actually tell a story versus trying to tell that story using just spreadsheets and data. So just a quick look at what I mean by data visualizations. So the difference is spreadsheets, which are on the left, lines that you might be looking or talking about hundreds to thousands of lines of data, versus a visualization, which is this bar graph, which can easily and quickly show you insight into that data, that same data that's represented by that graph, represented by the spreadsheet. Another element of people analytics that you'll often hear about is big data. And big data basically refers to the large volume of data that inundates a business on a regular basis. It can be data that's generated in or outside of the company, and it can come from an unlimited number of sources. Data can also come in various formats like PDFs, Excel, etc. So some big data sources, both internal and external. Internally, you're talking about your HR system, your sales data, your employee performance data, and employee surveys. All of those data sources can be used to create workforce or people analytics. External sources for data that companies will sometimes use come from Amazon Web Services. They provide just an enormous amount of free data to organizations on every conceivable area and data points that you could imagine. Data can also come from mobile apps, social media, and Google Analytics. And companies will use data from these different sources to actually compile and even take a look at not just their workforce data, but maybe their data in regards to customers and their business. Another element of people analytics is the fact that data can be structured or unstructured. Structured data is organized by fields such as data in a database or HRIS. Unstructured data is unorganized and usually text heavy. So this would include data in a Word or PDF document, social media, emails, etc. We'll be talking more about how companies are using this data, unstructured data, when we discuss organizational network analysis later in the class, or excuse me, in a later class. So structured data includes everything from your HRIS, which could be ADP, Workday, Bamboo HR, or your finance system, NetSuite, QuickBooks, etc. Sales data from Salesforce or any other CRM, expense reporting systems like Concur, or even your time and attendance tracking systems. So your punch clock, your physical punch clocks will create data that can be that is considered structured. Examples of structured data analysis, including running system reports like GML logs from finance or termination reports in your HRIS, or even exporting data from those systems and importing it into Tableau or other business intelligence software. So that's how structured data can be analyzed. Unstructured data. The reality is that about 80% of business data is unstructured, including information in documents, spreadsheets, emails, presentations, audio and video, web searches, images, and social media posts. While some of the information may have been generated internally, it is considered unstructured because the intelligence doesn't fit neatly into a database. And this is from Michigan State University's website. So some examples of how unstructured data is analyzed or data analysis for unstructured data would be emails and social media posts can be analyzed to determine the tone of communication from employees to customers. Behaviors can be patterned to create targeted advertisements and promotions for users. So that data that Facebook gathers when it comes to, and why you wonder why you're getting targeted advertisements on something you just did a search, is because companies are using that unstructured data and analyzing it to understand your buying habits and your behavior. And the same can be used for workforce analytics. We can use these items, emails, and social media posts from our own organizations to determine patterns and, behaviors. Analyzing consumer habits to identify when and where to offer discounts and sales. The analytical process. So the analytical process contains a multitude of steps, but what we'll be focusing on for this class specifically is step 1, which is asking what questions are we trying to answer? What is it we're trying to understand about the organization? Step 2 is identifying what data is needed to answer those questions. Do we need information from our HRIS system? Do we need sales data? Do we need information maybe from our marketing or our business development team? Step 3 is organizing the data in a way to answer that question, which is where Tableau comes in. We'll be using Tableau to organize the data in a way to answer the questions that we'll be working on with our Tableau case study. Step 4 is gathering insights from the analysis, which is AKA answering the questions. The optimal objective to any analysis is to be able to ask a question and using the data to answer that question. So how does this fit in with Tableau and People Analytics? Well, Tableau is a business intelligence software that allows you to easily analyze data by creating dynamic visualizations. Again, Tableau will take those hundreds and thousands of lines of spreadsheet data and allow you to easily create graphs. Tableau workbooks can be posted online and shared throughout the organization, and Tableau allows you to do everything from simple calculations to complex statistical analysis. So we'll be doing everything from adding and subtracting in Tableau to doing more complex, which for us complex will be multiplying different percentages or adding and subtracting percentages in Tableau. We'll also be using Tableau throughout the class to learn how to analyze HR data. You'll need to watch the Tableau tutorial videos in order to be able to keep up with the assignments. I will say Tableau is very similar to Excel in many ways, making it both user-friendly and familiar to many people. And knowing Tableau actually provides you with a competitive advantage over other candidates. I've actually had students coming back to me who were able to get HR internships or even positions because they were able to explain how they know and understand and how to use Tableau to prospective employers. So just a little bit about the Tableau case study that we'll be working on throughout the class. It's based on a fictional online retail store called Tasteful Culture, and the company is going to be featured on Oprah Winfrey's favorite things list. Based on that, the finance department has uh, predicted that the company will be receiving or should receive a 60% increase in revenue just by being featured on the list. So our objective as we go through and analyze the data will be to analyze our workforce data and come up with recommendations for a plan to deal with this increase in revenue, because an increase in revenue means that we need to produce more product, hire more personnel, make sure that we have everything in place so that we can continue to not only operate as normal, but operate at this higher capacity. So that's what we will be working on for our Tableau case study, and you'll be reading that in the next week. Finally, Josh Bersin, who is probably one of the most well-known guru when it comes to HR technology, said this about people analytics. People analytics isn't about people, but understanding the business. And that's what we're going to achieve as we go through this class and work through our people analytics using Tableau. Two videos that are listed in the checklist for this week to watch are HR 3.0, Data-Driven, Agile, and Business Focused, as well as People Analytics, Understanding People Through Data. Thank you.